Hi, I'm Brock Davidson reporting for DragBike.com. I have Don Gould with me here from Gould Motors. We're testing some ECU modifications on the new 2011 ZX-10R Kawasaki. Don is he's an expert at electronics, and these days with some of the limitations that the bikes roll off of the showroom floor with, guys like Don are going to become a more integral part of our world. In the past, we've been able to get away with modifications such as removing the secondary throttle plates, maybe adding a TRE or some other common mods. Well, as the bikes get more complicated, so do our world, and that's where guys like Don come in. We just made some pulls on the ZX-10 here, and if you want to get a little bit closer, I'll try and explain some of the things that have gone on. If you look at the blue line, you'll notice that the bike is making a pull. It gets up to about 11,000 RPM, and all of a sudden the horsepower drops off. And by the time we get up to the stock red line, about 13, looks like about 13.5, thanks Don, we're down to 155 horsepower from a peak of 165. Well, this other blue line shows that as we're coming up the curve, the secondary throttle plates are opening. We get up to about 9,000 RPM and we're at 100%, but as soon as you get up close to 11, the secondary throttle plates start closing, and by the time you're up around the peak power area, they're closed down to 66%. Now, Kawasaki's official take on this, when I asked him, was that's part of the US noise control package. Okay. So the lawyers and the emissions guys are slowing us down these days. Well, enter Don with his modified ECU. You look at the green line, not only are we picking up power all the way up the curve, but we continue to go peak, 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 peak. Now we get up in here, peak power gain. We register 182, but the actual gain is 183. That's on the SAE scale. That's very strong. To put it into comparison for you, the last BMW we had up here on our dyno, completely stock, SAE scale on pump gas just like this was right about 180. So the ZX-10 is actually making a little bit more peak power. Well, look at this gain from 155 to 182 horsepower. Boy, that is a huge gain. So now you look at this other, look at the other line here. I asked Don, I said, well, what if we were just to pull out the secondary butterflies? What kind of difference would we see? So Don electronically forced the butterflies open. Well, we still only made 176 horsepower. Well, the difference is not only do they close off the secondary butterflies on the stock application, but there's also about a 6 degree reduction in ignition timing that also is part of the US noise reduction package. So even if you pull out your secondary throttle plates, you're still 5-6 horsepower down, only 176 horsepower. So if you look at the big picture, Don here has done a fantastic job of de-restricting this bike. There are no other changes to this motorcycle. We left the stock exhaust on. We haven't gotten into any oil, no additives. It's got 89 octane Shell fuel in it. It's a stock motorcycle with Don's ECU modifications from Gould Motors. I believe most guys that are into the performance world will be looking Don up right away, and I just spent better part of a day with him. Really good guy. Glad he helped us out with this project to help educate everyone, and whether we like it or not, this is how they come. This is the electronics world, and we're really glad to have a guy like Don helping us out.
We can help.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.